Good day, Crime Talk aficionados. My name is Scott Reich, and this is Crime Talk. It's Tuesday, February 15th, 2022. Let's get straight to the docket. First, and just like that, all of Prince Andrew's trials and tribulations are over. Second, Brian Laundrie, the coroner report has been released. More Alec Murdaugh troubles, George Floyd 2.0, the government rests in their case. An update on the New York stabbing case that we brought you yesterday. Alec Baldwin gets sued today, and then our dumb criminal of the day. Let's talk about it. Good day, Crime Talk aficionados. Let's get to the docket. My name is Scott Reich, and this is Crime Talk. If you haven't done so already, please hit the subscribe button, hit that little bell so you receive notifications of when we go live or put up new content. And as a reminder, today is Tuesday, so we'll be live at 6 p.m. this evening. And also, remember, you can always download us on any of your favorite podcasting apps simply by typing in Crime Talk with Scott Reich. I want to thank everyone for doing that. I can't believe we are over 600,000 downloads on the podcasting app. So thank you very much. First on the docket. That's right. It was just getting going. We were asking for proof of photographs, and then something happened. That's right. A settlement has been announced. Prince Andrew has announced that he is settling his lawsuit with Virginia Roberts. The undisclosed deal includes Prince Andrew making a substantial donation to Ms. Roberts' charity in support of victims' rights and even praised her bravery. He never intended to malign her character. Ms. Roberts sued Prince Andrew last August, alleging that he, that's right, did terrible things to her when she was 17, and that the man named Jeff was allegedly involved in the trafficking of Miss Roberts. Now, Prince Andrew, who's 61, said in a statement that he, quote, regrets his association with that guy named Jeff and pledged to demonstrate this by supporting the fight against the evils of sex trafficking by supporting his victims. Attorney David Boyce, who represents Roberts, said in a filing that lawyers on both sides were telling the judge that a settlement in principle has been reached and that they will request a dismissal of the lawsuit within the next 30 days. The settlement means that the civil case will not go to a jury trial and that the Prince Andrew will no longer be questioned under oath by Miss Roberts' attorneys. Now, Buckingham Palace declined to comment on the developments today, but the news will no doubt have come to some relief to the Queen and other royal officials. And it will also spare the prince from a potentially embarrassing series of disclosures and accusations in the months ahead during the trial. It was also reported overnight that Miss Roberts claims to have lost the original print of the famous photograph of her and Andrew taken in London in 2001, which could further the Duke's argument that the image was altered. Now, in the full statement, the prince intends to make a substantial donation to Miss Roberts' charity in support of victims' rights. Prince Andrew has never intended to malign Miss Roberts' character, and he accepts that she has suffered both as an established victim of abuse and a result of unfair public attack. It is known that that guy named Jeff trafficked countless young girls over many years. Prince Andrew regrets his association with that guy named Jeff and commends the bravery of Miss Roberts and other survivors in standing up for themselves. He pledged to demonstrate his regret for his association with that guy named Jeff by supporting the fight against the evils of sex trafficking and by supporting its victims. Wow, ladies and gentlemen, what does that really mean? Well, if she didn't and couldn't find the actual photograph, that certainly may have been somewhat of a defining or watershed moment in that case. But at the end of the day, everybody gets what they want. Ms. Robert gets the prince giving her money for her foundation, and also gets a statement saying that he regrets his association with that guy named Jeff. Well, there you go. Everybody gets what they want, and the prince makes the matter go away without any public statements other than we are going our separate ways, and Miss Roberts is obviously a victim of sexual abuse by that guy named Jeff, and so the prince gets away with basically paying some money and making the whole suit go away. But that's what civil suits do. It's all about the money. Always about the money, ladies and gentlemen. Next, Brian Laundrie. The autopsy has been released. So the authorities in Florida revealed that new details around the death of Brian Laundrie, the man who was the only person of interest in the 2020 murder of his fiancée, Gabby Petito. The report confirmed that Laundrie had died from a self-inflicted wound to the head. The report also revealed that Laundrie's remains and personal effects were found in the dirt in plain sight just north of the environmental park in the Carlton Reserve in Florida. As for the condition of Laundrie's body, apparently the police said no soft tissue remains, but for minimum partially calcified costal cartilage at the anterior aspects of some of the lower ribs. Multiple long bones, including bones of the arms and legs, are disclosed carnivore predation activity characterized by gnawing and chewing, mostly on the distal ends of the long bones. What does that mean? That's right. Some animal, whether it be feral dogs or coyotes, basically ate up Mr. Laundrie. That's the gist of it. Laundrie's skull was extensively fragmented into at least 27 pieces, and several of his teeth were not found. That's what happens when sometimes people use that instrumentality to cause a self-inflicted wound to the head. Investigators said that he fired the bullet into the left side of his head near his temple at a slight upward angle. The bullet exited through the right side of the skull, traveling through little to no significant front-to-back deviation. Along with Laundrie's remains were his personal belongings, which included a green shorts, green belt, a pair of shoes, a backpack, and a metal ring, and the gun. The revolver was loaded with 2 live rounds and 1 spent round. Also found was a dry bag, which had a journal, a wooden box, a small notebook, and several photographs preserved inside. There was apparently a secondary scene some 250 feet away where his remains were found, which investigators found the skeletal remains of an animal which they believed to be indicative of hunting. Also found in the secondary location was a hat with the Moab Coffee Roasters logo and a handwritten note. It's unclear what they meant by a handwritten note. In January, the FBI said the notebook found near Mr. Laundrie's body revealed Mr. Laundrie's claiming responsibility for Gabby Petito's death. Now, Laundrie remains were under approximately 3 feet of water for an extended period of time, which kept them hidden from authorities during the month-long manhunt. Laundrie was never arrested, and the case never went beyond the accusations that Brian Laundrie had, in fact, killed Gabby Petito. So there you have it. Kind of fitting, I guess, so to speak, when you do bad things to other people, sometimes bad things are going to be done to you, even if you try to take the easy way out. Yep, and then the animals get you. Yep, the animals. A little poetic justice in a little bit of ways, because Gabby's body was out there in the wild for a little bit as well. All right, next on the docket, more Alec Murdaugh trouble. A judge was set to hear arguments from the Satterfield case regarding Alec Murdaugh yesterday morning, but the hearing was canceled after both parties came to an agreement. Now, Eric Bland, who represents the Satterfield, that's the family of Miss Satterfield, confirmed that the agreements have been made Sunday evening. Gloria Satterfield was the Murdaugh's longtime housekeeper who died after falling in the Murdaugh's hunting lodge in 2018. Murdaugh is accused of stealing the family's $4.3 million wrongful death settlement. The hearing was going to include a motion to dismiss Murdaugh from the lawsuit, a motion to silence and sanction the attorneys for comments that they made to the media, and to dismiss the Bank of America as a defendant, and 2 motions to cancel a lis pendens filing that were placed on 2 property owned by the Murdaughs. Lis pendens is simply a notice letting everybody know that this property is subject to litigation, and basically you can't buy it while that's pending, or you buy it subject to that litigation, which nobody would do. The parties basically say that they're making progress, and they're going to try to resolve their future complaints. Now, don't get me wrong, ladies and gentlemen, this is a complete scam. I hate to say it, Miss Satterfield, $4.2 million for wrongful death, unbelievable, okay? When most states cap the non-economic damages for wrongful death, she was much older. It's not like she had another $4.2 million of earning potential in her lifetime. However, Alec Murdaugh got that $4.2 million. Somebody on the other side was a part of that scheme, because no insurance company is going to give $4.2 million on a wrongful death case on something like that. It simply isn't going to happen. It was a fraud through and through. Now, Murdaugh is still facing at least 7 lawsuits, including 3 for the 2019 boat crash that killed Mallory Beach for millions of dollars, And 2 more lawsuits have been filed in the fatal February 24th, 2019 boat crash in Beaufort County involving Paul Murdaugh. Morgan Dowdy and Miley Altman are the last 2 passengers to file suit in the crash, which left both women injured. Dowdy and Altman were close friends with Mallory Beach. The complaints were filed separately in the Hampton County Courthouse on Monday. At the time of the death, Paul Murdaugh was facing 3 felony boating under the influence charges, and Paul and Maggie were murdered at the family hunting property in South Carolina. The newest lawsuit added the estate of Paul and Maggie as defendants as well. Some of the video that keeps popping up is the night that they were down in Beaufort, South Carolina, and they were going to the bar, buying liquor, and literally the little view there in the boat. I've been there so many times, and it just shows you, ladies and gentlemen, you have kids that are out there drinking. Yes, they gave false IDs to get the beer, and more than likely, the people that sold the beer are going to have to pay something. Really, these kids were engaging in the conduct, and that's where it's going to get sorted out. Like, okay, bad things happened. I get that. But you, in a civil case, have certain defenses, which include assumption of the risk, that you were contributory negligent by participating in this illegal conduct. It's also kind of like a clean hands theory. You can't come suing people if you don't have clean hands yourself. So we'll see how that shakes out. The reality of it is, more than likely, they're going to try to bundle up as much money as they can, give it to all the victims and all the frauds as it relates to Alec Murdaugh, and see what they can have. Alec Murdaugh was going to go away or be supported by friends and family over the years if he's not in prison, or when he gets out, if he gets out. You know, he's not going to be an attorney anymore. But man, what a mess and what a fall from grace, where somebody with so much power and the ability to do such good things, for lack of a better term, just screwed it up. Next on the docket, George Floyd, right? The George Floyd matter 2.0. Prosecutors rested their case on Monday in the federal trial of 3 former Minneapolis police officers charged with violating Floyd's civil rights. The prosecution presented its case in roughly 3 weeks, including a recess for a few days after one of the defendants tested positive for COVID. Now, many of the same witnesses from Derek Chauvin's trial were called. Several training supervisors from the Minneapolis Police Department also took the witness stand and testified that fired police officers Koenig, Lane, and Tao all appeared to ignore their training as Floyd became unconscious, and Koenig was captured on police body cam footage saying he couldn't detect the pulse of Mr. Floyd. Now, Officer Nicole McKenzie, the department's medical support coordinator, testified she personally instructed Lane and Koenig, both rookie police officers at the time of the episode with Floyd, in an academy emergency medical responder class that covered first aid and ethics in care. She also said records show that Tao took a refresher course covering the same topics. If you can't detect the pulse after 10 seconds, then you should begin CPR, Ms. McKenzie testified, adding that her analysis of the body cam video shows the response of the 3 defendants towards Floyd alarming medical issues was inconsistent with their training. Koenig, Leg, and Tao are fighting charges stemming from their alleged roles in the deadly 2020 confrontation with Floyd. Wow, ladies and gentlemen, we talk about this. You never know how quickly one's life can change. A couple of these guys, only police officers for a couple of weeks, and now they're looking at spending years, if not decades, in federal prison. You think something bad can't happen to you or your family and be charged? Think again. Well, we'll see what the defense is going to do. They're expected to call several experts to counter allegations that their clients ignored their training when they failed to provide medical assistance. Now, during the opening statement in the trial, attorney Earl Gray promised jurors they would hear from their client, Mr. Lane, as part of the defense case. If Lane testifies, he'll be the first former police officer involved in the 2020 fatal arrest to publicly speak out regarding his role in the incident. Expected to tell jurors what was going through his mind while he helped Floyd down at Chauvin's, as Chauvin kneeled on his back and as well as his neck. Attorneys for Tao and Koenig have not said that they plan to take the stand. That's a tough case. I mean, a couple of those guys standing there, I get it. You're supposed to. It's easy to say, I'm going to intervene when the senior officer is taking charge of the situation. yes, people get that training that says, hey, you need to step in. This isn't right. Stop it. It's called moral fortitude, I guess. Doing the right thing, even if the consequences are tough. They didn't do that. The question is it illegal? Should they have done it? Does it rise to the level of criminal negligence where they should be held responsible for violating Mr. Floyd's civil rights? We'll see. Or should it just be a good old civil matter? I mean, they did get several $1 million relating to the death of George Floyd. I don't know. Let me know in the comments what you think. Quick update on the New York stabbing. It's been revealed that the homeless man who's accused of stabbing Christina Lee after following her into her apartment had an alleged sexual motive for the crime. Asamad Nash was charged with sexually motivated burglary by prosecutors on Monday, and it was revealed to the court that Lee was found without a shirt in her bathtub on Sunday. A Manhattan criminal court judge approved the district attorney's request to remand 25-year-old Nash, who was charged with murdering Lee, 35, and stabbing her 40 times and leaving her in a bathtub, ladies and gentlemen. 40 times. That is the definition of after deliberation. We'll give him the presumption of innocence like we do everybody here, unless and until they've been convicted in a court of law. But it's not looking good for Mr. Nash. Now, it's alleged that Mr. Nash attempted to mislead police from breaking into Lee's apartment by imitating a woman's voice. Nash has 3 additional open criminal cases, one for assaulting a Brooklyn man, 63-year-old David Elliott, in a subway station. Nash was due in court on March 3rd for an attack on Elliott. Elliott, who works at Rutgers University, told the New York Post he was shocked that the clearly mentally ill Nash was free to roam the streets after attacking him at Grand Central Station. I don't know. You tell me, ladies and gentlemen. You let me know what you think should happen, ladies and gentlemen. Have the laws become too strict or too lenient? If I think or say that they're too lenient, I get accused of being some right-wing nut job. Then I get accused of being some left-wing nut job for saying that somebody has a constitutional right to the presumption of innocence. Let me know, ladies and gentlemen. It's common sense to me, and I don't understand why we can't agree on common sense type of things, but apparently not. Alec Baldwin being sued. That's right. He was sued today by the family of Helena Hutchins. In the lawsuit, lawyers for the family list what they say are lapses in safety on the Rust set. Lapses, they claim, led to the cinematographer's death. Among the alleged lapses, live ammo on the movie set. The suit also claims other shortcomings. The crew failed to treat the gun as if it was loaded. As for Baldwin, the suit claims he was only 4 feet away from members of the crew and reached across his body and used his right hand to grab the revolver, holstered on his left side, drew the revolver with a cross-draw movement and aimed it directly at Hutchins while drawing back the hammer. The suit claims he released the revolver's hammer and bam, defendant Baldwin fired the revolver. Baldwin said in an interview he did not pull the trigger. But at the news conference Tuesday, the Hutchins lawyer said, "I think it's clear what happened. Alec had the gun in his hand. He shot it. Helena was killed. The gun cannot fire unless the trigger is engaged and the hammer is back." The suit says Baldwin never checked the gun himself for ammo before using it. The suit also talks about cost-cutting measures, and a few days before Hutchinson's death, a local camera operator made safety complaints to the producer that there had been 3 unsafe weapon discharges and the set was super unsafe. Clearly, people are going to have to pay for this particular case, and what we're talking about is civilly, no doubt. The question is, when, if ever, is the district attorney going to conclude their criminal investigation and make a decision as to whether Baldwin should possibly be charged for, at minimum, the criminally negligent death of Miss Hutchinson. Now, I have an old antique revolver. Maybe I will try to bring that in and try to examine and analyze whether Alec Baldwin's story is even possible. If I have time after my jail visit today, maybe I'll swing by and get it. We'll wait and see. If not, we'll do it next time. Anyway, story doesn't make sense, bottom line. Next on the docket. Yesterday we had fingers. Today, listen to what we have. Police in California responded to reports of a possible drunk driver. being pulled over was a man who was found to have an active felony warrant against him. How many times have we heard that? Tyler Watson, 29, of Redding, California, passed a sobriety test Tuesday, but while being arrested by the Anderson police on a warrant for a probation violation, notified the officers he had a live alligator on his floorboard of his vehicle. Animal control officers and game warden from California Department of Fish and Wildlife responded to the scene to assist, and they took possession of the alligator, but Watson will face additional criminal charges for unlawful possession of an alligator. Who knew? He said it belonged to a friend who had just been arrested, and therefore that's why he was caring for the reptile. The old dad ain't my reptile. But he knew the reptile was there, so that would make him potentially guilty of possession of an alligator. And just think, we had to have laws put on the books not to possess an alligator, because it's not just enough common sense. People do stupid things. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is all we have for you today. Please join us tonight, 6 p.m. Mountain Time, for our live show After Dark. Starts at 6 p.m. We'll see you then.